Gentlemen, the time has come once again to discuss things.
He'll sit up and
He will.
Today is Rasco of Rasco's Modern Life. Hello, Rasco.
Hello, it's your boy.
Indeed, it is shaboy indeed. So we're here tonight to continue our series on fan film reviews. Before we get into that, I want you, the listener, to know you can download episodes of Geeky Gentleman. There's a link in the description. Download this episode. You can download older episodes by request. Just check out the Geeky Gentleman playlist. There are over 300 episodes, so you can go look through those. Leave a comment on an old episode. I'll upload it to the downloading website for your listening pleasure. Okay, so last week we reviewed a fan film that I'd already reviewed before. This week we're reviewing fucking action figures. Are we running out of ideas, Rasco?
I don't think so.
There have been some formula breaks as of late, but that's okay. I don't mind doing it. I fear that people might think we're running out of ideas.
I think there's probably going to be plenty of things before we'll be exhausted of ideas.
Well, that's good. So what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about Spider-Man Resurrection.
Indeed. Okay, well, you got the background on this one, so take us away, Rasco.
So I first came across this series when I was a very young lad. I think I was in the second grade, maybe, when I found this. That was like maybe year 1 or year 2 of YouTube's existence. There's little child Rasco on the internet. I find Spider-Man Resurrection, and I find the first episode, I watch it, and I'm like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing ever. And of course, this was during the golden age of YouTube, a much simpler time where much simpler videos would rise to the top. And I mean, it's clear that I'm not the only one who loves this series, because if you look through the comments on this re-upload playlist, there's always like the top rated comments like, oh man, I remember this when I was a kid. And I'm clearly not the only one.
It's so weird to think that YouTube is over 10 years old at this point. See, your memories of the early days of YouTube come from second grade. Mine come from high school. And, like, I remember being in a computer lab, and a friend of mine was watching videos on YouTube. He's like, oh, Ian, you gotta check out this video. I'm like, I don't have an account. Because that's how I thought YouTube worked. That you had to have an account to watch videos. So that's, like, I've learned quite a bit since then. And I eventually got an account, for anyone that was wondering. So yeah, the early days of YouTube, it did not take much. Since we're talking a little bit about the history of YouTube, do you know what the first video uploaded to YouTube was that wasn't like a test from the software developers?
No.
Or website developers would be the proper term.
I don't think so.
It was video of an elephant pooping.
Okay, I've seen that video.
Yep. Historical milestone right there.
That really is going to be in the history books, or at least it should be.
Yeah. So then, let's get into the fan film itself. As far as the history books of YouTube is concerned, better or worse than elephant shitting?
Better.
Worse.
No, you're wrong.
Okay. I understand that children find this entertaining. I understand that it was the early days of YouTube and it required absolutely no talent whatsoever to make. and get popular. Here's why I find this to be wholly useless and not worth anybody's time.
Oh, man.
Because if you want something that is funny and cheap with just action figures in front of a camera and a guy playing with them, it's just some random guy. I'm a Marvel, I'm a DC. There you go. I've given you an infinitely better series.
I was also a fan of that, I must admit.
And you must also admit that it is infinitely better than this.
Yes, it is much higher quality production.
Well, it's not about production quality, it's just better written. I'm not saying that someone
Yes,
playing with
it
action
is,
figures
indeed.
couldn't be entertaining as a comedy. Hell, if you really got great writing, I'm pretty sure people could look past the action figure part and see it as, you know, something legitimately engaging. This, though, this feels like the live-action Adult Swim shows. Where I'm just like, why are you even doing it? No one is laughing. Who is laughing at this? Oh.
I enjoy this.
Okay, well, talk about what's good about it then.
Alright, my favorite thing about this is that, like, there are just so many, like, okay, like, nothing I'm about to say is really, like, objectively good. This is very important. This is, like, an entity that I enjoy, rather than any sort of, like, piece of art. Like, it's just as, like, a thing that exists. I like this thing's presence and reality. Mm-hmm. So, there are so many things about this that I just think are really funny that, like, for starters, the weird, like, just choice of music throughout this entire thing is so funny to me. Just like the very beginning where he's like, my name is Excelsior. And then he's like, and then the Green Goblin, aka Spider-Man, is like, I am the Green Goblin. I don't know anybody else. When I think about you, I touch myself. Whoa. I just think that's so funny.
I'm having more fun of hearing you describe it than I am watching it. And, like, this was painful to get through. Like I talked about last time when we reviewed There Will Be Brawl, how I was like, you know, it's overly long and yada yada, but it's not meant to be watched all in one sitting. It was meant to be watched as a series. This, I made myself watch it in chunks, 1 or 2 episodes at a time, and I was still exhausted by the end. I just, my word. This is like, this is going to sound terrible. This has prepared me for being a parent in ways I never thought anything would.
Oh my god.
I am like so ready to go to my child's play and have to sit through it and smile and tell them they did a great job because I've now seen this. I've got Haley laughing in the background.
That's a hate crime, dude.
Hate crime? Yeah.
Another one of my favorite jokes from this thing is Gay, the great antagonist union.
No, but like, I'm so, like, this is such a thing where, you know, he showed his friends, and his friends thought it was funny, and you know he showed his parents, and his parents said, oh yeah, that's good. And like, the parents were just lying to this kid's face. And I understand why this kid removed these videos from YouTube, and I'm sorry for him that these got re-uploaded. Especially because he puts his name on it.
Well, that's the thing, like, the guy who made these, he's not like a child. I actually think he was like a college-age student.
What?
Because I remember he made an update video, because there was like a really large gap between one, I don't know which, it might have been the 15th episode, and the 14th and the 15th. There was like a huge gap. between those and he did like a video in between, it was like an update or something like that. And I just remember him being like a college age student, but I could be wrong. I was very young at the time, but I'm pretty sure he was like in college.
What the shit? Like, I expected a 13, 14-year-old. Truly. And to be fair, people, you can go watch my movie that I made in 2011. I'm sure a lot of the humor there doesn't necessarily hold up. I feel like I've grown as a person since then, and my sense of humor has become refined. I still think there are things that are funny in that, but regardless. I don't know, man. He's a college-age student, and he's there making a movie with action figures. And it's this bad.
You mean this great?
Will you admit that the only reason you like this is because you saw it as a child?
I can't even say that. Like, I don't even know why I like this so much. It's definitely heavily influenced by the fact that this was, like, literally something I found within, like, day one of being on the internet. Like, I found this video and I was like, Spider-Man Resurrection? I just kept up with it for so long, all throughout my childhood. I was like, yes, Spider-Man Resurrection, new episode!
One of Rasco's old YouTube channels was him reacting to Spider-Man Resurrection episodes.
I did a Primetime Crisis Live thing for Spider-Man Resurrection.
Right. Dude, I don't know. I really, like, I see where you're coming from. I remember finding old stuff on the internet like that when I was that age. Did you ever hear of liquidgenerations.com or albino black sheep? I mean, those two are more obscure. I suppose the more popular one would be Homestar Runner.
I don't know.
You've really never even Homestar Runner. This is where our age gap really comes in. I remember watching Homestar Runner videos like fucking crazy. I got grounded from television for like a month at one point, and I don't even remember what I did, but I remember that I was grounded for a month. And my mom didn't ground me from the internet, so I just watched a bunch of shit online, and this was before YouTube. And so I came across Homestar Runner, and I just watched all of their videos. And it's one of those things where I remember trying to share videos that had me busting a gut laughing on the floor with people, and they just kind of like looked at it all straight-faced and like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what this is. Like, I got so obsessed with Homestar Runner that I was like perfectly able to replicate their character designs on paper. I could draw out their character designs, and that's a big achievement for me since I can't draw for shit. But yeah, I watched Homestar Runner to death, and like that is, again, I feel like that's still better written than this, but I think it's the same mentality of it's that weird thing you find on the internet and you can't help but share it around and get into it, and then no one else will find it funny. So let's talk about like the series itself. Does anyone feel, or well, not anyone since you're the only one here. Do you feel like the writer forgot that Green Goblin was Spider-Man at some point?
I don't know. I know, like, why do you say that?
I don't know. It just like it quits becoming a reference or any kind of important part of the plot whatsoever.
That is very true. I kind of think it's like a Game of Thrones type thing where Game of Thrones, it's like it gets really broad and then kind of narrows by the, like, we're getting towards the end of Game of Thrones, and so it's got really broad towards like the middle seasons, and it's kind of narrowing down. I think that if we had been able to see what would happen later on in the series, because unfortunately it was canceled.
Fortunately, it was canceled.
No, unfortunately. It's really unfortunate we couldn't get a feature-length film like Serenity to tie up the series, but I'll let it go. You know, I think that maybe it probably would have come back around, but it was getting pretty far away from that.
I'm just racking my brain right now, Rasco, trying to think of a single joke that made me laugh. And to be fair, it's been a couple days. I'm sure there was something that made me chuckle. But man, when you're trying to make a comedy series and you can't even really make one person like laugh consistently, God, what a failure.
Well, I laughed enough for the entire internet, so it doesn't matter.
I guess it's one of those things where, like, usually I try to be as kind as possible to fan films because I feel like, you know, there's such a high bar to meet, and if you can get anywhere near it, I gotta give you some props. But this is literally a guy playing with action figures. It was forgivable when I thought it was a child. Let me rephrase this specifically. This is a grown-ass man playing with action figures.
But, come on! How could it, like, so many great scenes! Did you really think that tripping over a rope would kill me? And then he stabs him in the stomach. Did you really think that stabbing on my vital organs repeatedly would kill me? Did you really think that smashing my face against a rock would kill me? I just, like, it's so not funny, but it's really funny. And I love in the first episode where Electro keeps getting killed. And it's like, what to say? That you always did well. That is so fucking funny.
To you, I'm sure.
To the world.
I don't know. Like, again, I'm having more fun listening to you describe it than I did watching it. Maybe that's what I should have done. Maybe I just should have had Rasco describe the entirety of the series.
Yeah, maybe that would have been a better way to do this. I could pitch it at you better. Yeah. It's really funny because when I pitch this video series to people, they're always like, oh, that kind of sounds funny. And then I don't think anybody would ever like it. Like, I was talking to Connor the other day, and I pitched this to Connor, and Connor was like, oh, okay, that sounds interesting.
Well, what made you pick this again? Because, like, you got really excited when you picked it last week.
I chose this because we're doing There Will Be Brawl, and that's just, like, an old video series, obviously, and the aspect ratio, like, triggered me to think of this, because YouTube used to have, like, the shitty aspect ratio with, like, the black bars on the sides.
Uh-huh.
And, that's really the only connection I made.
Okay. Cool. I don't know, it's just like we were talking about There Will Be Brawl, and you're like, oh, I know what we're picking next week. I'm like, oh, okay.
Must be pretty great.
Yeah. I don't know. It's one of those things, like, I don't know how many series from my youth, especially internet series, where, like, there's no, you know, approval process. It's just whatever one person makes, I would want to watch. I'm trying to think of things I actually went back to. I recently rewatched the Lilo and Stitch Disney show, and that held up alright. But yeah, I don't know how many things I would actively seek out to go back to.
It's interesting, like, because we talked about how in some of the other fan films we talked about how, like, we've gotten to a place right now where, and like, this is apparent with, like, Star Trek, where a lot of people are liking some fan stuff that's being made more than, like, what studios are making.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, as we just continue to, make different kinds of technology way more accessible, as we get to this place, like, people can make better and better stuff. But at the same time, what kind of was great about YouTube was the absolute amateur, like, lack of professionalism that was always going on.
Yeah.
And that's what was so fun about YouTube, because it really is like the Wild West. Like, the internet, it's kind of been, like, more It seems like we're at a place right now where people are trying to like rein in the internet. But the internet for a long time has just been this like Wild West place, and I always enjoyed that. Like you just get such hilarious stuff uploaded on the internet, and stuff like this would have like a real fan base and a following for a long time. And nowadays, like this could never get a This could never get a following.
That's the crazy part, is that this would never take off now. The people leaving comments on it are the people who remember it fondly, but no.
Yeah.
I will be fucking shocked if anyone had never heard of this series, watched this review, agreed, or wanted to hear what you had to say more than what I had to say, and watched the series because of it, and then ended up liking it. I would be shocked if that happens. If that has happened, and you've come back to this video, please leave a comment. If you have gotten this far in the video and not seen the fan film, I don't encourage you to go watch the fan film, but if you're the curious type, go watch it now, come back here, let me know what you thought. Because wow, what is this?
Go watch it. It's great.
It's something.
It is something. That is very true.
Oh, man.
Something is what I call quality.
Ugh. I don't know, dude. I think he broke his Green Goblin action figure at some point.
Why do you say that?
Well, like, it's in the new intro, like, when he updates the intro with the Ramones song. I think you could see, like, hot glue or something holding his Green Goblin together.
I think that's the case. I think his arm is broken, like his right arm.
I don't know, I found that amusing. I liked that he used battle-damaged Spider-Man at points. That was funny. I don't know, I'm trying to think of positive things. I was impressed that there were, like, posters on the walls at points.
I love the sets.
And I was also confused why the Dark Knight posters pop up and then immediately go away.
It's because the movie came out during that time.
No, I get that. I just don't understand why they went away after that.
Oh, I don't know. It's just like a little gag. I don't know. Again, I just keep thinking little things about this that make me laugh. Like, just like Wolverine's dream where like Sue Storm and Black Cat and then Venom wake up in the bed with him, and it's like, when I get that feeling, I want sexual healing. It's such a fucking great scene.
Oh my. Rasco, I'm really afraid to read any of these scripts you're planning to start writing now.
Oh no, dude, it's great. Like, you're good. Like that was a fantastic. That's a fantastic gag right there. That's a quality. I would love to see that in movies. This kind of writing needs to be implemented in Hollywood.
Oh, I'm sure.
Watch this be the kind of humor they add to, like, Justice League. We had to lighten up the tone.
Lighten up the tone with, that's a hate crime joke.
That's a hate crime. Or like, I love when like they're like, okay, Spider-Man, we gotta insult, or okay, Power Ranger, we gotta insult them first. And he's like, hey, you villains, you guys, you're gay. And they're like, yeah, we know, we are gay. And then like, he's like, look at them, they're insulting themselves. It's just so terrible, but it's so funny.
Oh. Yeah. I don't know, man.
Definitely a hate crime.
I guess I'm a real fan of continuity.
Yeah.
In things. Like, I've talked about how much I love Archer for how strong its continuity is.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a thing that, like, I don't know, I feel you can more or less watch any random episode and you're getting the gist of this show no matter what. You're not losing anything, and continuity doesn't really matter to it.
Well, It's not exactly, because if you didn't watch the first episode, you wouldn't know that Green Goblin is Spider-Man.
Yeah, and it wouldn't matter.
Yes, it would. Because you wouldn't understand why he keeps calling him Power Ranger.
Yeah, I guess. That is funny that that's the only thing from the entire series that continually references that Green Goblin is Spider-Man. You know, it's funny because I guess, like, the comics stole this premise at some point. Because
I know!
Doc Ock is Spider-Man for a while.
I know! That is the funniest thing in the world. This did it first.
Well, I guess the one joke that did really make me laugh was when he's like, well, now that you've killed Spider-Man, it means that the Marvel writers are completely out of ideas.
Yeah.
That made me laugh a little bit. And what made that joke funnier than what it might have been otherwise was the fact that, like, even though I haven't read it, was that we got Superior Spider-Man a little while after this, or a couple years back now. Because that's just like, I haven't read it, I don't know anything about Superior Spider-Man besides Doc Ock as Spider-Man.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it other besides that.
But it's just, that's the premise of this is, okay, Green Goblin's got to be Spider-Man now. And so it just compounds the idea that the Marvel writers are completely out of ideas of what to do with Spider-Man.
Yeah, like, the thing about this...
good premise.
The crazy thing about this is, like, it went off the internet for a while. The series was, like, deleted with the guy's channel. And then it gets re-uploaded because people cared about it that much. There was a demand for someone else who had probably, like, downloaded the videos off the internet to re-upload it. And then other people tried to, like, finish out the series. And there's also, like, fan fiction that's supposed to continue. Like, in the comments, you'll see people like, I'm writing, like, a fanfic to continue the series and stuff like that. Like, people really cared. There was even a reboot. I saw, like, a reboot. It's a Spider-Man Resurrection reboot.
What do you want to bet the reboot's better?
God damn, it can't be. Nothing can touch this.
Your odd devotion to this I find strange and a little sad.
You sound like that guy from A New Hope. Your devotion to that ancient religion. Your lack of faith disturbs me, Ian.
Yeah? Well, you're not going to
force choke you.
My ass, so. Oh, man. Alright. I'm fucking done talking about this shit. I don't care if you have anything else more to say about it. I ain't talking about this goddamn thing anymore.
That's okay. I just must make my final plea to people. If you're listening to this and you haven't seen Spider-Man Resurrection, you're doing yourself a disjustice. You need to go and see Spider-Man Resurrection.
Okay.
Is disjustice even a word?
No, it's not.
Well, it is now.
I think the word you're looking for?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, next week...
A disservice. That was what I was looking for.
That's what I just said.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Ah.
Just clicked in my head.
Okay. Well, next... Oh, wait, shit. We need to do a rating. Okay, Rasco. Why don't you give this shit like a 5?
God. You know... Okay, this is tough for me. Like, how much do I enjoy this series? You know, I'd lose my credibility if I gave it a 5. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5.
Oh my fucking god, are you serious?
Spider-Man Resurrection gets 4... It gets 4 hate crimes out of 5.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I give this series 0 out of 5.
You can't give it 0!
I didn't enjoy anything about it!
Yes, you did!
I, like, giggled at 2 jokes. I'm giving it 0 out of 5.
Come on, you gotta give it at least more than a 0. Give it a .01.
No, it's getting a 0 out of 5. dangling chains.
Well, if you're gonna do that, I'm breaking the scale reverse-wise. I'm giving it 6 out of 5. Hate crimes now.
Me not liking it is a hate crime.
Yeah, that is a hate crime.
No, I thought this was pretty awful and real pain to get through. But I'm glad you enjoyed it, Rasco. Someone has to.
Ian, it's obvious. This is great. I don't know why it's lost upon you.
Yeah, apparently. Okay, well, next week on Geeky Gentlemen, we'll be reviewing a fan film called The Question, What Can One Man Do? A DC Comics fan film.
Ooh!
Yeah, I found another Question fan film that's just called Questions, but it was only like 7 minutes, so I was like, it's a little hard to do an episode on those, so we'll do a 20-minute Question fan film.
Ooh! I like me to question.
Yeah. Alright, everyone. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you decided to watch the fan series based on this review. I do not blame this guy for taking the videos down. Alright. Until next time, I'm the Philosopher.
And I am Excelsior.
And we are your Geeky Gentlemen, and we will be discussing things.